lady.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing really well.
Awesome. Okay, there we go. You froze up for a
There we
second.
are. Yeah,
Awesome. Awesome.
I was waiting till I could see the picture.
Right. Okay. Awesome. Good. Here we are.
Yay!
Yay. Well, thank you so much for joining me for Five Songs That Changed My Life. We have so much to talk
Oh,
about, so I'm
thank you
happy to have
so
you
much
here.
for the invitation. I'm so honored to be here with you. We go
Absolutely.
way back.
I know, right? It's so crazy. It's so crazy that we're connecting on multiple levels now.
Yes, that makes me so happy.
Absolutely. Same. Likewise. Well, for those who are not familiar, I know you got fans joining us now who are just like crazy. Lauren Evans, everybody knows who she is. But for those who don't, I'm, I'm going to introduce the audience and let them know why you are so incredible. Um, you are a Stellar Award nominated. You are a two-time Emmy Award nominated, Brit Award, Latin Grammy Award nominated, and ASCAP Award winning singer
Yes.
and songwriter. You've worked with some of all of our favorites, Alexandra Burke from UK, X Factor, Kelly Rowland, who I love and adore, and just she's everything to me. Jordan Sparks, One Step at a Time.
There's no need
Um,
to rush.
Sing it! Yes, yes. And even some of our favorite veterans in the game, Johnny Gill, Vanessa Williams, the list goes on and on and on.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. So you're also an incredible artist and singer in your own right, as we heard a little snippet just now. Your vocals are
Thank
nothing
you.
to be sneezed at, man.
I
Let me
do what
tell
I do.
y'all, she is one of those singers that just like, where's the high note? Let me sing that. Where's the highest point? Let me go there.
Let me find it and we'll go there.
I really do love how, even in your songwriting, I can tell your songwriting because melodically, you are not afraid of the high. Let
Yes.
me go for what's high and
Yes.
impactful.
Yes. Get you there. Take you as high as you can go.
There you go. I love it. I love it. So listen, let's jump right into this song list. It's an incredible list, some
Okay.
classics, some personal songs of yours. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, let's jump right in. So the
All right.
first one is Rhythm Nation by the one and only Janet Jackson.
Yes.
Miss Jackson, because
Yes.
I'm nasty. Ew.
Ow.
So we are going
Ah.
to jump right in. We'll listen to a little bit of it and then we'll talk more, okay?
Okay.
Y'all know it. I know you're over there dancing right now. I know it. Like you're jamming with us. I know this.
Yes.
So why did you include that classic on your list?
You know what? That was the very first cassette that I ever owned when I was a child.
What?
So the first
That's
bit of
crazy. Me
the
too.
first that was a what?
That is
What a
crazy.
small world.
Wow. Me
So yeah,
too.
so for me, it just has such personal significance because that was the first piece of music that that was my own,
Hmm.
that I think I purchased it or maybe it was a gift. I don't remember. I was really young, but yeah. And then I just also just remember being so moved by, you know, uh, music that talked about social issues and what was really going on in the world. Um, and I was a real, yeah, I was really militant as a young kid. I cared about the environment. I cared about human rights, and I still care about those things. I'm not quite the advocate that I used to be, but maybe that's something we can remix for the future. Um,
Hmm.
but yeah, and so I just remember being so impacted by Rhythm Nation um, because of its social um, implications. Um, but also like Janet Jackson was so cool, you
Oh yeah.
know, everything about how she was cultivated as an artist really spoke to me. And
Hmm.
from the dancing to, the fashion to, even just the percussiveness of the people of the world today. We're looking for a better way of life. Sing it out. We are a part of the rhythm nation. So rhythm, so like you have all these like cool, sonic elements that are happening, at the same time. And like even like the intro has, what is it, like a shabu zen or something like that? Like do 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 do
Hmm.
do 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 do, which like I'd never heard that in a song before. I mean, I was really little, so I hadn't heard a lot of music at that point. But I just
Right.
I just remember really like that standing out to me, like, oh, that's so different, and just really catching my ear. And so yeah, that song in particular changed my life. A, because it was the first piece of music that I could claim as my own. Like, oh, I can cherish this, as something that belongs to me. But also because Janet was cool and talking about things that I cared about, and um, it was nice to know that there were artists that were doing that.
Uh-oh.
Oh, did it get frozen?
Yeah, it froze on that very last part, of course.
Oh,
Okay,
it's
but you're
okay.
back now.
I'll say it again. Yeah, it was really cool to
Oh,
see artists that were also advocates, and
right.
that was really meaningful to me.
Awesome.
And so
Awesome.
yeah, so
Absolutely.
that's why that particular song changed my life.
Awesome. So such a young person, where did that fervor, that energy for against racism and injustice and the environment, where did all that come from?
Both of my parents are thinkers.
Mm,
My mom is she's a computer programmer, software developer. My dad, he's many things. um, but growing up, he was both clergy and also like a business consultant. And
okay.
so we had a lot of really interesting conversations in the house. And I think that those are the things that kind of sparked, my passion for those things at a young age.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Very cool.
How's my
So
connection? Is it still a little
it
wonky?
seems to be freezing up a little bit.
Okay. Come on now, inner way. I get it's okay. We're just gonna
Oh,
continue.
okay. Right. We'll make it happen. All right. So, side
We'll make
note,
it
of
work.
course, absolutely. That song, as a majority of Janet's catalog, was produced by Jam and Lewis, and you have worked with them
Mm-hmm.
actually. So what's it like working with the
Yes.
legendary Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis?
Man, it's like beyond.
Oh no. Okay. Of
It's
course it
it's
froze
always
up at
such an
that part.
honor. Oh, of course. It's so incredible
Okay. Do you
working
want to
with
try
those
going out
guys.
and coming back in,
I'm
maybe
frozen
checking your
again.
connection?
Um, yeah, let me come back out and then I'll come right back.
Okay. Sounds great.
All right.
Okay.
I can hear that we're connected. I don't know if the connection's any better, but I pray it is.
All right. Yes, 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 please. Okay. All
Woohoo!
right, there we go.
All right. And we're
Awesome.
golden.
All right, here we go. Take
Yeah,
two.
so
No.
so you were asking me about what it's like working with the legendary Jam and Lewis, and
Yes,
I was
indeed.
saying that it's beyond. You know,
Ah,
um, on one hand, they're both such down to earth, really cool, chill guys. Like, when you see them in interviews. I mean, I don't know if you've listened much to Jam's radio show, on
mhm.
Sirius XM. You know, but just as easy as you and I are talking, it's so easy to talk with them. But also from a working standpoint, um, you know, they're musicians to their core.
Mhm.
They're super mega producers, and so they've done this for a really long
Right.
time, and they make it really easy and seamless and effortless, to work with them, whether that's writing together, whether that's recording vocals, whatever it is that we do together. It's always fun, it's always easy, and it's always excellent. um,
Mm.
and one of the things that I'm really blessed to have had the privilege to do is just even sitting in like on a mix session, like when they're finishing up like Shaka Khan's Funk This album. You
Oh,
know, like
yes, yes.
I was privileged to be a part of that, you know, as a vocalist. And it was cool to sit in on the mix sessions and kind of hear all the layers and all the dimensions that, you know, they insert into each and every track, that really do create, you know, it's kind of like Disneyland, you know.
Hmm.
You know how
Hmm.
you go to how you go to Disneyland and like everything has a theme, and like they're so thorough in how they utilize music to create these different palettes for, you know, your mood, and to express the emotion of a song, and to really mine the gold out of every artist that they work with. Like they
Hmm.
really are incredible, really are incredible. And yeah, so it's always an honor, always a privilege to work with Flight
That
Time.
is so cool. That is super cool.
Yeah.
So what was your one takeaway that you took and put into your Lauren Evans bag as a
And working
songwriter and
with
a
them.
performer yourself? Absolutely. Yeah.
Oh, working with them. Um, oh man, I don't know. It's always the just the candid, just the conversations. You know, um,
Yeah.
Terry is like an uncle to me. You know, like he's family. You know, he came to my wedding, and um, you know, like I remember a couple times I was recording in his living room at the house,
Oh, that's so
uh,
cool.
there was a big storm out, and so you know, I was spending the night. You know, set me up in the guest room. I'm like, Terry Lewis is making my bed. What? You
What
know,
is life?
like what is life? But yeah, I mean, it's really just the candid conversations, and we talk about everything, you know, not just about music and the business of music, but you know, we talk about God, we talk about, you know, family
Mm.
and relationships, and you know, personal growth and development and maturity, and you know, becoming. And so I don't know. I mean, I think one of the most helpful tips that I ever got. I remember talking to Terry once about managers, because at the time I was considering like, okay, well, do I need a manager? And you know, so I just asked him like, Terry, like, you know, what, you know, do you know, what would you suggest that I do, you know, in terms of getting a manager? And he laughed and he's like, you know, I've only met, you know, two great managers in my whole career, you know.
Wow.
And he's like, he's like, and truthfully, you don't really need a manager, you know, just
Mm.
yet. And you know, you don't need a manager so you have something to manage. I said, well, that's true, that's fair.
Hmm.
Um, but then another nugget that I took away, you know, because in their studio, you know, they have like floor to ceiling plaques, like, you know,
They
platinum
probably ran
plaques
out of
from
floor and
floor to
ceiling.
ceiling. And it's a multi-story building, you know.
And there you
And
have it.
so, you know,
Right.
I remember asking Terry, just as a songwriter, like, hey, like, you know, you guys know how to write hits. You know, you guys have done this a few times. You've had your successes, and so I
Hmm.
asked, like, well, you know, what's the secret? Like, what is the sauce? Like, what, you know, what do you need to make a hit song? You know, and Terry looked at me and he's like, Lauren, like a hit isn't a hit until it hits. You know, and so,
Facts.
you know, and if
Facts.
anybody tells you that they know what a hit is before it's come out or before it hits, like they're lying to you. And so, you know, that's another thing I always took away, and it kept me from being overly critical of even my own creative process, you
Hmm.
know, because uh, yeah, it's not a hit until it hits, and you never know what's gonna hit, and so just keep creating and do it to the best of your ability.
There you have it. That was a gem, y'all. So I hope y'all grab that one.
Snatch
I
that
think
nugget.
snatch it. I think a lot of us as songwriters get stuck on it. The hit. We want the hit. We want the residuals. We want all that great glory, and it will come.
Hmm.
But just keep creating.
Right.
Keep creating.
Absolutely. And I think, you know, the important thing is just connecting, you know, and like
Mm.
connecting with something authentic, you know, because when you're
Hmm.
authentic, and you're creating from, you know, a real place, I think people will connect with it, and ultimately that's what a hit is. It's a song that connects with many at once.
Right.
And so you know, and the other factor, of course, has to do with just distribution and making sure people are exposed to it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's it. That's it.
So,
Authenticity is a theme that often comes up on this show. I think almost every artist
mm,
that has been here on this show has mentioned authenticity and just creating from that real place. And that's where the
hmm
gold is. That's where the gold is.
absolutely, absolutely. I mean, because gimmicks can work, for a season,
Sure.
but there's a reason that Lady Gaga gave them up. You know,
That's so funny. That's exactly who I was thinking about when you said that.
right? And
Yeah.
Miley
Yeah.
Cyrus too. There's a
Hmm.
reason why eventually that plays out.
Yeah.
People get tired of the shock and awe, and they want to hear something honest. You know, not to
And I
say
think
that
with those,
oh, go ahead.
no, 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 you're fine. Go ahead.
Not to say that in those gimmicky moments people are not being honest, but
Hmm.
definitely at the forefront is the gimmick.
Right. Right.
Um, and so the honest stuff is there. There has to be some level of honesty for it to be believable. You
Right.
know, um, but I think the transition from honesty being on the back burner and kind of the underbelly of things to being in the forefront, is ultimately what people care about.
Right. Yeah, I think Gaga in particular to me has made that transition really well. Like she definitely came out with
Mm.
the gimmicks and the meat dresses and the colorful hair and all of that stuff, but beneath it,
Yeah,
Stephanie Germanato was there.
yeah,
And so as she got the audience and as she got the attention that you need to have a successful career, she
hmm,
started stripping back the layers and
yeah,
revealing the authenticity that was there, underneath the entire time.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely, and I love that.
Yeah, absolutely. So the next song on your list is a classic that has come up more than once. I think Donny Hathaway and Stevie Wonder are the two artists that repeatedly appear on people's list.
Because I
It just
mean,
so they're legends, right?
right,
It just shows how
undeniable,
impactful they are. Absolutely,
right?
absolutely. So it's, a song for you is the song you put on your list. We're going to listen to a little bit and then we'll talk more, okay?
Okay,
Look, I can't give y'all too much. You'll be in your feelings.
all up
Need y'all
in
to
them.
stay with us. Stay with us. You
Keep the
can't
party
go away
going.
just yet
Woo! Goodness gracious.
because Donnie will take you there.
He'll take you all the way in, all the way
Exactly.
into the glory.
Exactly. Yeah, all the way to
Woo!
glory. Yes. God. So tell me why you put that song on your list.
I remember being in the car with my dad, and I don't know if at the time we were rolling in the Volkswagen Golf or the Datsun. That lets you know how long ago it was. But we were. I remember. I remember sitting in the car with my dad, and this song came on the radio, and it's the first time I remember being like arrested by a song.
Mm.
Like my soul was like, "Who is that? What is
Hmm.
this?" I mean, obviously, as far as vocals go, like Donnie is like stratosphere, you know,
Hmm.
A list vocals, um, but it was the vocals, it was the music and the way the strings came in, uh, and the lyric and just everything. It just instantly transported me to a place that I was too young to have ever been before.
Right.
and
Right.
and and all I knew is that it's like you said, like we only gonna give you a little bit. We're just gonna give you a taste because you gonna go in a minute, and I was in.
Yeah. Yeah.
Arrested
Of
from
course.
that first piano trickle, that first piano trickle, and I was like, "What is this?"
Hmm.
And yeah, and so for me, it was there was something so significant about capturing that depth of emotion,
Yeah.
on a recording, and how everything worked seamlessly, like nobody else can sing that song. Like how there are certain songs and certain performances that are like sacred,
Hmm.
you know, like you just don't touch them, because like you can't do that like that.
Right. Right.
And
Yeah,
so
that's
just
definitely one of those songs. Like when I hear people singing, I'm like, I don't know. I don't know.
don't mess it up. The Lord, the Lord is on it.
Right, just saying.
The Lord is on this. You can't touch the Lord's anointed. I'm sorry. Don't mess it up.
Just
Or
saying.
you listen to it and it's kind of like how church folks are kind of like, oh, that's cute. Oh, go
Mhm.
ahead, baby. Where it's like, where you can tell they're just being very generous. They don't want to hurt your feelings. That's how that's how I feel about Donny Hathaway and For You. Like that's just one of those recordings that you don't touch it. It's holy, it's sacred, it's perfect just as it is. And there are only a handful of songs, like less than a handful of songs, that have ever arrested me that way.
Mhm.
And for all the right reasons. You
Yeah.
know, I Hope You Dance. Is one of those
Oh, yes.
songs. Uh, Come on now. I can make you love me if you don't is another one of those songs.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there are songs that are sacred and you just don't touch it.
Yep. Yep.
And A Song for You was the very first song that struck me to my core. And I was like, I want us that do this to people, that get them all in their deep emotions,
Mm-hmm.
have them pondering life.
That really
And
connects with
yeah,
people,
so
right?
that definitely. Oh yeah, big time, big time. Even if you can't relate to the
Aside
specific
from Donnie, who were some of your big
storyline,
influences growing up?
Like one more time, we got a little glitch.
Okay, okay. Yeah, sorry about that. We're a little glitchy right now. Aside from Donnie Hathaway, who were some of your influences growing up?
Oh goodness, Ella Fitzgerald. I loved
Ah,
Ella.
yes.
Whitney Houston, of course. You
Mm-hmm.
know, um, Stevie Wonder, of course. Olita Adams, Anita
Yes. We don't
Baker.
talk about Alita enough.
Uh, Olita is, whew, she's somebody. I'm trying to tell you. Sting. I
Yes.
loved Sting
Yes.
growing up. Aerosmith. Yeah, I was kind of all over the map.
I love it. I love it.
Black girl in the suburbs. I was listening to all kind of stuff.
Hey, as a black guy from the suburbs, I completely get
There you go.
it.
And John Williams, the composer, was also
Yes.
a really big influence of mine. Um, yeah, I mean his scores to me are like, they're pop scores.
Hmm.
When John has touched something because you'll remember it.
Yes. Yes. Of
And
Star Wars fame and many other
yep,
films.
Jurassic Park, E.T.,
E.T.,
uh,
right?
right, Indiana Jones,
Hmm.
the original Harry Potter theme.
Oh, I didn't know that one. Okay.
Mhm. Yeah, John Williams he's dangerous.
Yeah. Yeah, he's that guy.
Yeah,
Him and
but yeah,
Hans Zimmer, like they dominate.
everything,
Hmm.
everything,
And they're truly everything.
everything. And I let them have it too because they do a great job.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely, truly.
Yeah.
So the next song on your list is "Didn't I" from the Prince of Egypt
Mm-hmm.
inspirational soundtrack by an artist named
Yes.
Christian. So
Yes.
we're gonna listen to a little bit of that, and then we're gonna let us tell you why this song is so special to you. Okay?
Okay. Yes.
That was real
Sorry.
Whitney meets Dark Child. Everything that I love. Everything that I love. So tell me, man, who is
Ah,
this artist Christian that sings this song?
that was 13-year-old me.
Wait a
At
minute,
the
wait a minute.
time,
You broke up. I need you to say that one more time.
that was 13-year-old me
Wow. 13 singing like
uh,
that. Are you crazy?
yeah, yeah, I was 13 years old, and yeah, it was crazy. At the time, I was signed as an artist to uh, these incredible producers named Buster and Shivani. They
Mhm.
oversaw that particular soundtrack, the inspirational soundtrack. Um, and, they also did the Boomerang soundtrack. They're responsible for Kirk Franklin's Stomp. And
Oh,
just
wow.
overall, just incredible guys, amazing producers. Yeah, so I was signed to them when I was 13, and that was kind of my you know entry into the music business.
Mm.
We ended up, this was part of course, the Prince of Egypt soundtrack, and so I got to be a part of all the hoopla, around that. I got to go to the premiere, and I remember being with my dad on the red carpet, standing behind Steven
Ooh.
Spielberg, and having Jeff Goldblum coming up behind us on the red carpet. I mean, nobody knew who I was, but
Right.
it was still cool to be there,
Of
and to
course.
experience that. I remember being there and meeting Diane Warren, and seeing Val Kilmer, and you know yeah, and just being able to go to like the screenings when they were still like drawing the sketches for the film. And it was really cool to be a part of a major soundtrack like that. And I was 13, so like I didn't
Man.
know half of what was going on. I was just happy to be in the room.
Sure.
But yeah, and so Buster and Shivani, I guess in an effort to protect my identity, they decided to give me a stage name at the time, so they called me Christian.
Okay.
And yeah, and I mean, I was nominated for a Stellar Award, for that song. I went up in that category. I was up against Kim Burrell, and so I already knew, like, game over. I
Right.
knew
Right.
I wasn't gonna win, because that Kim does her thing. So, but yeah, like it was really cool to be a part of that whole thing, and I got to meet Shirley Caesar and Donnie McClurkin, and all these gospel legends that were a part of it. Got to meet the guys from Take Six back in the day, and yeah. So I mean, it was really cool that was kind of my introduction to the music business.
Mhm. So going from
So
being
that
an
definitely changed
artist,
my life.
awesome, awesome. Sorry. So going from being an artist at 13 to having this major career as a songwriter, what was that
Hmm.
transition like?
Seamless, you know.
Very-
So after my agreement with Buster and Shivani was up, somehow I ended up singing demos for a bunch of different writers and producers throughout LA.
mm,
And I remember, and I did it for a while, and I remember in a lot of sessions thinking oh, this is a thing. Like, people write songs. Like, I mean, I'd written songs, like I co-wrote, didn't I? But like, it didn't dawn on me, for a while, that like, oh, like, people do this for a living. People are writing songs for a living, and and it's my job to make those songs sound like they need to be on the radio. Um, and truthfully, I could probably write better songs than a lot of the ones that I'm demoing. you know so so that's what I did. So I started reaching out to some of the my clients, the folks that would hire me for demos, and I asked if anyone would be interested in collaborating. And the first person to say yes was Robbie Neville. uh, and
Wow.
uh, and we the first one of the first songs that we wrote together. um, yeah, we'll talk about that later.
Okay. Awesome. Awesome. We'll get there.
Yeah,
We'll get there. Very cool. Very cool.
yeah,
And so now Lauren Evans, the artist, has
hmm,
emerged as well as a songwriter. What's that
yes.
like balancing the two?
You know, Initially it's taken a really long time for me to circle back around to putting emphasis on my artistry, because I've been kind of a midwife and facilitator for so many other people's talent and gifting, that I'm capable of doing a lot of different things. You know, a lot of different things. And so it took a while for me to identify, like, okay, well, what is my thing? And I think even still, that's in development, you know,
Mhm.
that's in development. But, it's funny, like this year is the first year that I've actually started to put out music of my own, you know, um, for myself, a lot of the stuff that features my voice on it, is either a demo that leaked or was somebody else's project that I'm featured on. And so, and it's also really scary, putting out your own music, and just kind of exposing yourself vulnerably and saying like, oh, here I am.
Mhm.
Um, it's different when you can hide behind someone else's persona, versus having to stand up and speak for yourself. It's a different thing. But I feel like I'll get the hang of it eventually. Because it goes back to what we talked about earlier about just being authentic, and I'm pretty good at that.
Awesome. And that's what you have to give the people again, authenticity. Whether it's your voice or someone else's, it just has to be
Hmm.
real.
Just has to be real, has to be
So
truthful, has to be honest.
absolutely. That honesty is key, for sure. So the next song on your list is Even Heaven Cries by Monrose, a group from Germany, correct?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yep.
We'll listen to a little bit of that and then we'll talk more. Yeah, that felt good. So tell me,
Yes.
why did that song change your life?
So, as I mentioned before, one of my first co-writers and collaborators was Robbie Neville. He's an
Hmm.
incredible artist and songwriter in his own right. And so that was one of the first songs that we ever wrote together. And
Oh,
it
cool.
got picked up right away by, this group that won, I guess, the equivalent of what would be like German Idol.
Hmm.
And yeah, and then it was entered into the Eurovision, song contest, where in Europe they have this contest. It's kind of like the songwriting Olympics,
Right, right. It's
for all of
huge.
Europe, where countries compete, for like the top song in the contest. And so we that song was that we wrote ended up being Germany's entry, for that competition that year. And so it was really cool. And they released it as a single, and it charted pretty well in Germany. And and so that was my first taste of uh, the business of songwriting, and
Mhm.
having a song that went to the marketplace. Um, but also, it was the first time that I had something that I created. Um, I got to see the impact of it, because it became a pretty popular song in Germany, and there are a lot of young girls who were posting YouTube videos of themselves, either lip syncing or singing the song or telling their story to the song, and so it was girls that were struggling with depression or um, body dysmorphia or bully or were bullied at school or what have you, and they were just basically using our song as therapy in a lot of ways. Um, and so for me it was really cool from all the way across the world to be able to see the impact that a song can make, the positive impact that a song can make. And that from that point on I was hooked. I'm like, I need to do this like more often.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
thus my songwriting career began.
I love it. I love it. It's a calling, right? It really is a calling.
Right, right. It
Beautiful
truly
thing.
is.
So we mentioned some of the artists that you worked with earlier, and you strike a
Hmm.
beautiful balance between working with new artists and veterans, major label artists and independent artists as well. What,
Hmm.
let me rephrase this. How do you choose the projects you work on?
Some of it comes down to availability. Some
Hmm.
of it comes down to um, whether it makes business sense,
Okay.
um, because this is how I make my living, and I gotta eat. I got bills to pay, and they're
Hmm.
not. And you know, bills are mandatory. Like
They keep coming. They're so disrespectful.
so disrespectful. Can I get a break? Can I get a vacation from
Just
bills?
saying, like, chill for like a couple of months and we'll get back to it. But they still be showing up. Ugh.
They still
Okay.
be showing up talking about, hey, you
Right.
owe us. And so, you know, and so yeah, that plays a factor too. Like, hey, you know, these bills need to be paid, and so you know, there's a certain level of priority that's given to, you know, projects that I know are going to take care of that for me,
Right.
either now or later.
Okay.
um, but also, you know, especially when it comes to like independent projects, you know, a lot of it is, you know, how much do I care about, you know, the artists that I'm working with? Like, do I really believe in, you know, what they're bringing to the table and who they are as people?
Hmm.
Um, and also, like, do I believe in their talent? You know,
Yeah.
because that's a big piece of it. Like, it's at this point, at this stage, it is really difficult to kind of handhold and like teach people um, while in the process of creating.
Yeah.
Um, and, you know, there's a place for that, and you know, and I'm in the process of kind of putting together some resources to kind of help people who are in the beginning stages of, you know, becoming songwriters or artists, and just kind of need the basics, you know, to you know, to move forward with, you know, what it is they want to do. But you know, but if I really care about someone or I really believe in the project, you know, even if it's a little inconvenient, I might take it on just because I care.
Hmm.
Um, but uh, but yeah, and that varies, you know, because I have a limited capacity.
Right. You're a whole human being.
I'm a whole human being, and I got a whole life, you know, and so you know, I try to be mindful of, you know, that these are people's dreams. You know, these are, you know, artists are sensitive about their stuff, you know, and so
Yeah. Yeah.
I want to make sure that even if I don't take on a project, that, you know, people feel empowered and encouraged on their journey moving forward. So that's important to me.
That is awesome. I can't remember who was saying this, but someone that worked with you, forgive me for not remembering who it was, said the exact thing you just said, that you make them feel empowered, that you're just
Mm,
so gracious to work with because you lift their spirits. And I think that that is the psychological component of being a songwriter, is that
right.
you also empower the
Absolutely.
artist. You also empower the artist in doing what you do.
Right. I mean, part of my job as a songwriter, particularly if I'm working with an artist, is to I am a bit of a psychologist. Like, it's my job to
Hmm.
get in your head.
Yep.
I have to get in your head and understand, first of all, who you are, where your values lie, and where your emotion what's your emotional state, and how can I use those things to create something that is authentic to you, that expresses exactly what you want to say in this moment. You know, like, that's my job, that's my responsibility. Like, I mean, sure, there are writers that come in like, okay, I just want to write something that's hot, you know, I want to write something that's fire, I want to write something, you know, which is cool, and that, and, you know, and there's a time and a place for that. But I think for me, where my gift mix lies is, you know, let me sit with you, let me get in your heart, let me get in your head, and let's write something that I like to write classic songs, you know, songs that stand the test of time, that, you know, people can still relate to, you know, 15, 20, 30 years from now, when all the lingo's changed and the fashions changed and the sounds have changed. Like, I want to write stuff that's timeless, you know.
Hmm.
And so for me, you know, I feel like my role is like, okay, you know, help me to understand this artist, and so I can get in their heart and help them to write the story that's in their heart. Um, and also just walking away, you know, feeling like I've given like I've given them a voice, or like I have helped to contribute in strengthening their voice. I think that's a better way to put it. That I've been a part of helping them to strengthen their voice.
I
That's
love.
important to me. I want to see artists thriving.
Yeah, so that's you mentioned paying bills, which songwriting has done for you in a beautiful way. But I think that's the
Hmm.
greater underlying purpose that you really tapped into there.
Yeah, that's my
So,
why.
yeah,
Because paying bills
yeah.
ain't enough.
You can pay bills
And, and,
all
so,
kind of ways.
and some of the hoops you got to jump through to pay bills, sometimes it ain't worth it. I can't tell
Mm.
you how many times, I have an aunt who's a flight attendant, for United Airlines. And I'm just like, you know what? I could be a stewardess.
But do you?
Let me
But do
see
you
what
really
other.
want to be a stewardess?
Uh, no. I mean, I would love the travel perks. I would love the travel perks, um, but babysitting people, being a sky waitress and dealing with rude people. That's Yeah. I only have a certain amount of patience for that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
But
yeah. Shout out.
it crossed my mind.
I understand. Shout out to our flight staff, our pilots, our flight attendants. We
We
appreciate
love
you.
you. Thank
You are
you.
special people.
Thank you so much for taking such good care of us.
Because I couldn't do it.
I ain't the one. I love y'all.
Can't do it. Can't do it. Oh my gosh. So the last song on your list is one that you're featured on as well. It's
Mhm.
Alone by Armin van Buren. We're going to
Mhm.
listen to a little bit of it and hear your glorious vocals, and then we'll talk more about it.
Perfect.
Yeah! I
Woo!
love that good old EDM trance energy. Yes, indeed.
Yes, fun times.
I love it. So tell me why that song changed your life.
Oh goodness, so many reasons. I mean, for one, I wrote this song with a songwriter friend of mine in the UK called Victoria Horn. They call her Lady
Oh
V.
yeah. Oh
So
yeah.
I wrote this with Lady V and D Mile, the producer, who I'm so excited to see him blowing up. He is everywhere right now,
He is everywhere.
and that makes my heart so happy. Like I am so happy to see him winning, and I want him to just continue to win because he deserves it. Like that dude is so humble and he's so incredible at what he does.
Oh
Like
man.
I love him. Anyway,
Like he is that guy right now. He really
he's
is
that
that guy.
guy. He's that guy, and I want him to stay that guy because he's been that guy. He's
Mm.
been that guy, and the world is just discovering. Oh, he's that guy. Like, yeah, he's that guy. And so I'm super proud of him. I'm super excited for him. So it was the three of us, that wrote this song together, and I think Victoria shared it with Armin, and then he went on to create his version of it. And this song, it was amazing because it was the first time I'd ever been on a world tour.
Oh
Armin
wow.
brought me on tour with him to perform the song, and yeah, it was like a year and a half. I think we were on the road,
Mm.
and we went everywhere, everywhere. And I think the one of the reasons why it was so impactful for me is because, I mean, we were in stadiums and arenas, 10, 20, 40,000 people, 50,000 people.
Wow.
I think in Mexico City it was 70,000 people, something like that, like just oceans of people on these major stages. And um, it was my first time performing on a stage of that magnitude as myself.
Hmm.
I mean,
Hmm.
I'd performed on stages before, I performed in front of, a few thousand people, but, to be on a platform uh, of that size, and people, hearing and seeing my name, and hearing me perform, my voice, a song that I co-wrote, um, there was something really magical about that, and to see people singing along, and also just to be on social media and get reports of, how it helped people to feel less alone, in the world, you know, how they felt seen, how they felt heard, how they felt cared for, um, because of a performance, because of a song, you know, and yeah, and so for me, it was just like, man, like, you know, this is the reason why I got into this. This is the reason why I do what I do. It's, you know, to impact people, you know, and to see, you know, faces light up and want to sing along, you know, to words that were carefully crafted, you know, from your own heart, you know, like there's something really cool about that. And so, so yeah, that changed my life, and be able to see it happen in multiple countries, you know, countries I never even thought to visit, you know, Romania and, you know, Russia and, um, India and Colombia, you know, like we went all over South Africa, you know, we went to all these places and the Philippines um, and just to see, you know, all these people from every background, you know, singing along with passion,
Hmm,
you know,
hmm.
to something that you wrote with friends in a small room.
Wow.
You
Wow.
know, there's something really cool about that, you know, and also to be able to tell a story of, you know, humanity needing connection, you
Hmm.
know. And I've been thinking about that a lot, especially over the last year when everyone's been in quarantine. You know, one
Right.
of the lyrics in the song that people quote a lot is everyone's connected, but no one is connecting, you know,
Yes.
and
That stuck out to me too. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, and so, you know, but we found that, you know, because of technology and the connectivity, like even being able to do this, like we're not in the same place.
Right.
But here we
Right.
are talking face to face, having a real and honest and beautiful conversation. And so, you know, technology has allowed us uh, this opportunity, especially in the midst of distance,
Hmm.
um, you know, to be able to stay connected and be connected and in some cases maybe even connect on deeper levels, you know,
Right.
because we lack the physical connection. And so, but yeah, you know, that song changed my life because that was the first time I got to see in real time on a platform the impact of, you know, my music. And so that was really cool.
That's amazing. You mentioned that a song that you just write with friends can go across the world in such a big way, but then you
Yeah.
being the vocalist and the actual person to deliver it, you get to see these audiences and their reaction to it. What a gift.
Right.
What a
And
gift.
I'd never had the opportunity to do that before in that capacity, especially for a song, you know, because I mean they promoted it on the radio. We did like the iHeart Radio jingle ball and the whole thing. You know, so there was radio promo behind it and the whole thing. And so it was and it's really the first time that I felt like a legit artist, if I'm
Hmm.
honest, you know. I mean, obviously, I don't feel like I got the superstar treatment, you know, because obviously it was Armin's show, you
Right.
know, but, you know, well, I was treated well. Um, but, you know, just having the experience of being the embodiment of my own creativity and being able to share that firsthand with thousands of people, um, at a time, you know, there's something super magical about that, you know,
Oh yeah.
and I don't know if I'll ever have another opportunity like that in my lifetime, but I hope I do. I think that would be amazing in a different
I
capacity,
feel
you know,
like you
as
will.
myself doing my own thing, but I'd love to be able to do that in my own right and on my own terms.
Absolutely. I love it. So before you go, can we do a quick round robin? I'm going to name a song that you've written
Okay.
and just give me a
Hmm.
quick little something about that song, okay?
Okay.
All right. So Jordan Sparks, One Step at a Time.
Yes, one step at a time. Um, gosh, I remember me and Robbie Neville wrote that in Santa Monica. We were sitting in his Prius. That was our routine. You know, we would go to
In the
Starbucks.
Prius.
We would go to Starbucks. We get our drinks. We in his Prius. And then we go down to First Street, which overlooks the ocean. So
Mm.
we'd sit there with the car doors open. We'd, have our disc of track we're going to write to. We just put it on repeat and write in the car. And and the concept for One Step at a Time, I kind of blurted out. In my mind's eye, I saw this picture of high heels walking down a sidewalk, and I'm like, I don't know, something about steps or shoes or walking, and then just it was like Tourette's, like one step at a time. and Robbie was like, what does that mean to you? And I'm like, song about just life and persistence and moving forward in spite of opposition. And so anyway,
Mm.
and that's how One Step at a Time began. And so we wrote it, Jordan recorded it. And then it was crazy because I was on tour with Natasha Bedingfield when it came out on the radio.
Oh,
And
cool.
I remember the label FedExed me a copy of the music video. And the opening scene is high heels. She's in those green high heels walking down the sidewalk. And I'm just
Right.
like, oh my gosh, that's exactly what I saw when we were writing the song. Like before, and I didn't tell anybody that. I was just like, that's what gave me the idea. It's like something about shoes or steps, and because that's what I saw. I saw the heels walking down the sidewalk, and so it was cool to see that incorporated.
How crazy how that all circled back around.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Amazing. So Alexandra Burke, Bad Boys.
Bad Boys. Oh, I wrote that with two of my favorite co-writers, Alex James, who's in and from the UK, and Mike Busby, who is no longer with us. Michael Busby, and it was one of those situations. Michael's living in Laurel Canyon at the time, or Coldwater Canyon. Laurel Canyon. He was in Laurel Canyon, and so we all piled into his car, put the song in the CD, and we drove down the coast, and we wrote the song while we were driving. We stopped for sandwiches.
I love it. I love it.
We wrote the song in the car while driving down the highway, and then we came back and recorded it. Back at Mike's studio, and so that's a beautiful memory, really beautiful memory.
That is so cool. Kelly Rowland, No Man, No Cry.
No Cry. No Man, No Cry. I wrote that with Damon Sharp and Mark Feist, both incredible writer producers, and so they were a production and writing duo at the time, and so it's just they were folks that I did demos for, who opened up the opportunity to write together, and we wrote the song and they pitched it, and Kelly Rowland recorded it, and at one point it was like a really big ringtone. Like people were downloading it as their ringtone for their phone.
Oh wow!
Which I'm like, that's cool.
Right. Such a different time. That's crazy.
I know. I mean, it's crazy the things we've seen and experienced in our time.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Let me get this right because I got it wrong earlier this week. Guacamole,
Okay.
Hey Boy.
Yes, Hey Boy. Goodness. Well, see, it's interesting because that song was started with Keith Harris and Estelle, and so they already had the hook, and me and DQ David Quinones. We wrote the verses to the song, and and Guaple recorded it, and then they added Snoop Dogg on the radio version, and
right.
I was like, that's dope.
Exactly. His verse is so smooth.
So smooth, and I love that LA was well represented, because I'm an LA girl. So
come on, LA. Representing.
Yes.
Okay, and last but not least, just because she is a personal favorite of mine and she was my first guest of 2021, Kylie Dean's Changes.
Oh, Kylie. Oh, I love that girl. And
yeah.
So I wrote Changes. I think initially I wrote Changes for myself, and I wrote it with an incredible writer, producer, guitar player, Blake English.
Yes.
Yeah, Blake, he's amazing. Always has been one of my favorite producers, one of my favorite guitarists, and just a really sweethearted guy. And so yeah, he and I, we had a writing routine at back then, and so we were writing a lot. And I think he got hit up by Kylie's manager at the time,
Mhm.
because they were looking for songs, and so she recorded it. And I don't even know what happened to it after that, um, but yeah, she's incredible, and yeah, it couldn't have gone to someone more awesome. I really do love that girl.
Yeah, yeah, she's a great person, amazing voice. I
Mm-hmm.
think the same of you as well. So I'm
Oh,
glad,
thank you.
so happy you could be here tonight for Five Songs That Changed My Life.
Thank you so much for the invitation. And
Absolutely.
this has been a long time coming.
Seriously, it has. It has. And we shall continue it very soon.
Yes, I'm looking forward to it.
Absolutely. So before we go, please tell the people where they can find you and stay connected and what you have coming up next.
Okay, so um, right here on Instagram at the real L Evans. I'm also on Twitter at the real L Evans. Don't go to my website; it's not ready yet. It's under construction, so you can find me here, and I do answer DMs. So holla at your girl. Um,
Nice.
Musically, um, I have a full EP that's completed and ready to go. I put out my first single last month, and I
Humans being, right?
Humans Being, and
Yes.
the EP that's coming probably late summer
Okay.
is called Affirmations Book One.
Mm.
And so yeah, it's been an interesting journey creating it, and also I am really the worst at self promo. I'm great at promoting
Well,
other
this
people.
is your moment, girl.
But no, I'm serious, but so I'm still learning the ropes of like how to market myself and like how to be savvy, and God bless me. I'm working it out. I'm collecting my visuals and trying to get some stuff together so I have more content to
Nice.
share with everybody in the coming months. And so yeah, check me out.
Very cool. Well, I'm looking forward to it. I know that the audience is. You've had so much love in these comments.
Oh, I see my people up in here.
They up in here. Yes, ma'am.
I
All right.
love
Well,
it.
thank you so much again for joining me. Thank you, everybody, for joining us for Five Songs That Changed My
Yes,
Life.
thank you.
I will see you guys back here next Thursday for another great episode. Have a good night.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.